All right, gang. Welcome to Venusian Intuition. If you're new, welcome. Grab a drink, grab a snack. On this channel, we talk about basic astrology and sometimes spirituality. In today's video, I'm gonna complete my Zodiac Through the House series. Per the request of a subscriber, I forgot your name, but you know who you are. Of course, these series are dedicated to you. So we already did Aries, so we're gonna go through Taurus through the houses. And if you're already a part of the game, welcome. You already know what time it is. So today, family, we are doing Bull Gang. So if you are a Taurus, make sure you drop through in the comments because I'm a Taurus myself. So this particular video, of course, if you have Taurus in your zodiac house. If you have Taurus in your chart, of course you do. This video is for you as well. So, family, let's hop right into it. So, Taurus, we know, is our beautiful earth energy that is ruled by Venus. Everything luxury and love and beauty. You know, this is also the stubborn earth sign. Very hardworking, very loyal about their money, and they love food. Let's get it, family. So, Taurians in the first house, Venusian qualities at its finest here. These people are very attractive, have a great sense of fashion, a more put together look, so something more with like layers. Physically, they can be, say, a little bit on the chunkier side. Not all Tauruses with the first house, depending on what else is in the chart and what is aspecting. They can have also a very athletic body type as well. So again, it depends. This depends on a number of factors, not just what's in the chart, but genetically as well. They can come off as stable, hardworking, and loyal. Their approach to life would be cautious, slow, but steady. Because Taurus believes in longevity and putting in the work where it sees fit and growing what it has nurtured. So you can always count on a Taurus here to, put in the work towards things that they see of value, no matter where the Taurus placement is within your chart. Taurus in the second house. Taurus here, if they have a desire to work, keyword if, they will make a living doing something they have a personal relationship with. Something like maybe skincare line, maybe nail shop, something kind of like beauty related. So maybe open up like a hair salon, or maybe even a catering business. So anything that they feel personally tied to that represents kind of like that Venusian qualities. That's more of the theme here. So the theme here is kind of like finding a balance between work and personal life. So more than likely, the Taurus here will have an attachment to their valuables, and deem their possessions, whether that's in the form of people or objects, basically like another part of them. So they can be very attached to things that they feel of value, whether like again people, possessions, kind of on the possessive side. Taurus, I ain't gonna call you out, but I am. you know, again, and I say that because it's the attachment that is formed to these things, and Taurus has to be careful with that here. Now, again, depending on what else is aspected here, they can deal with self-esteem issues as well as having a healthy relationship with the self-esteem. So if there are any hard aspects to this position here, the Taurus may suffer with self-esteem, self-worth issues. So that's something you may want to be careful for here if you do have a hard aspect to this house here. Taurus in the third house, Taurus here could have issues dealing with communication due to stubborn nature. Again, it's not that Taurus doesn't have the ability to communicate effectively, because they do. But again, when the ego gets in the way and they become stubborn, communication with them is almost non-existent. It's like talking to a brick wall, especially depending on what mood they can be in. Again, very intelligent people, but one we easily overlook this due to how Taurus process information. And like I mentioned before, I believe one of my other videos, that Taurus is like a Taurus and Mercury placement where, it's not that they're slow. It's like the Taurus and Mercury, Taurus, the third house, process information in a slow manner, so they can basically not miss anything, because Taurus likes to basically get it right and get it right the first time. So they're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they process this information and process it in the right way, so when they hit the ground, they hit the ground running and they don't have to fix any mistakes. So people can deem this as, they're slow, they can't think, but it's just they choose to do it this way because they feel like when they do, they can put out the best results. They're realistic in their way of thinking and communicating. Now, sometimes they can deal with, the inability to be flexible in their thinking. Towards third house, you have to be careful with that here because, in order to truly, say, transform as a person in your thinking, you have to be flexible in how you're willing and wanting to see and work and deal with things. It could be a very good gift here. So keep that in mind here with Taurus in the third house. Taurus in the fourth house. Home is where the heart is here. Materialistic on 1,000. I won't even lie because, this is dealing with the Venusian energy, and when it comes to the home, these people want to indulge in all things involving the home, as far as in decorating it to the nines with the finest material. Yeah, the home would probably be immaculate. And, they'll be very tied to, not just their home, but their family that's in the home, just family in general, ancestry. So, they have to be careful not to be overly attached to their home and family and allow their family to have their own lives. Yeah. Taurus, here, of course, loves stability and routine. This is right up Taurus's alley. Taurus would put a lot of energy into making sure that their living space, like I mentioned before, is luxurious, is comfortable, is like their palace and their kingdom. So Taurus here would be very family oriented and very invested in their home space and making sure that everything within that home, whether that's the furniture or the people, is comfortable and happy. Taurus here in the fifth house. Taurus here, stability, stubbornness, caution, realistic, and being realistic should be the theme here. Well, no, it is the theme here. Now Taurus here, of course, is ruled by Venus, but they will put a lot of this energy into like their romantic flings, and they would show this through, appreciation, through giving their time and gifts and, just loving on their partner or whoever they're in a fling with that way. I would say fling. This is not a partnership house. They usually prefer to be in long-term relationships. So Taurus here got to be a little bit careful, because this is more of like the desire, pleasure, quick romance type of house. So you don't want to be bringing those relationship qualities in the fifth house, Taurus. Say that for maybe the seventh house. So Taurus, is equally dedicated to their hobbies as well, just as well as they have their desires that they put a lot of energy into. They're like this with things that they enjoy. They will spend whatever money and whatever amount they need to make sure that they can indulge in whatever makes them happy. So Taurus here can probably overspend. I can see that, especially when it comes to things that make them feel good, whether that's food, clothes, other substances, whatever. Now, these people do not like being in situationships or romantic flings that are heavily drama filled. This will run a Taurus off in a hot second, faster than you can press the number on your speed dial for whoever on speed dial. They will not tolerate it, unless there's other things in the chart that would say otherwise. So let's jump into Taurus in the sixth house. The Taurus here is practical, hardworking. Now their fellow earth sign is the ruler of this house, Virgo, so energy kind of works well here. These are people who prefer to beautify and harmonize their work environment because Taurus here does believe in a balance between work and personal life. So Taurus can be very healthy when they have an active lifestyle and not overindulge in foods. So if you do have a Taurus placement here, please be careful with rich foods, junk foods, sugar, not the placement to fuck around with bad foods. Some here, when it comes to like say their work pace or the work environment, Taurus does have like a slow approach when it comes to the work. Again, like I mentioned before, is due to looking at everything with a fine tooth comb, making sure it's done right, and making sure when we do hit the ground, um, everything is put in place. We don't have to go back and fix any mistakes. So that same attitude is and energy is put through work daily habits, you know. And some would say here that the work pace is slow, but it's very efficient and it's done right. You can always count on that. Now Taurus here in the sixth house, power here comes from staying grounded, interacting with nature. It's healing to your soul. So sixth house placement here, stay away from the rich, sugary foods and make sure you spend a lot of time in nature. Actually getting out there, physically grounding yourself. And if you can't physically ground yourself, make sure that you're able to physically be in nature as much as you can. Taurus placement here in the sixth house. Taurus in the seventh house. Taurus here loves long-lasting, committed, loyal, loving relationships, whether it's on a romantic or business level. They have to have harmony and a lot of love in these relationships. So they will fight for relationships to the end. Ruled by Venus, all things Taurus love basically is everything Taurus love is like their love language here. So when that comes to luxury, food, indulging, spoiling, Taurus will do all of that here, especially when it comes to their partner. They put a high value on a relationship and they expect the same thing in return from their partners. And this is where Taurus could kind of get themselves in trouble because a lot of the time they attract partners who probably can't live up to these standards. So, that's another conversation for another day. So, stability here for Taurus is a priority. These people will stay, again, like I mentioned before, in relationships longer than needed, because they put high value on relationships. So, these are honestly the people who say they've been in a toxic relationship, but because how they view love, how they view relationships, say they've been in a relationship where they should have left this person long time ago, 2-3 years ago, and they still here. These will be the people to do that. And the Taurus here, you have to be careful for that because we do have that staying power, especially when it comes to things that we deem important. But sometimes you have to let go, Taurus, because sometimes it hurts longer to stay than to just let it go and cut it off at the head when you're seeing the problems. Taurus in the 8th house. Taurus here, will probably help their partners earn money, or they'll have like some type of business with their partner. They'll be very cautious when spending money, or just taking risks related to money, because again, not cautious, but Taurus, it's that cautious, stable, hard working energy. It's a think first, then we act. So Taurus here, again, also can be stubborn when it comes to taking advice from others when it comes to finances, because again, if Taurus has that know-it-all attitude, they can be stubborn when it comes to hearing what anyone has to say about these matters. Now, Taurus here can deal with power struggles, especially if they're, say, with a Scorpio partner, so they have to be careful with that. Power struggles are definitely evident here, can be evident here, especially dealing with a Scorpio partner. So next, Taurus in the 9th house. Taurus here, puts high value in on education and learning, to the point where they can make it a priority, maybe the only priority in their life, especially if they have nothing else going on. Fixed energy here will be a little reluctant to travel as much, or have the need for adventure, and that kind of sucks because this is the house for it. But when you're dealing with the fixed energy here, it's not to say that Taurus would never travel and never consider it, but being that Taurus is kind of stubborn and fixed in nature, they have to have a really good reason to travel. Because they'll make all the excuses to why they can't travel, whether they're due to it's not the right time, they don't have the finances. So if you do have the Taurus placement here, explore on that travel and step outside of your comfort zone, because when you don't step outside of your comfort zone, it can hinder you. And I think this is the fear here of Taurus, is stepping outside that comfort zone. Your Venus energy here will help you draw things in your life that kind of ease that nervousness or that hesitancy about, whatever fears you may have for stepping out of your comfort zone. So to help you out, just let the things that draw you in help you make those decisions, Taurus, and don't get caught up on negativity and what could go wrong that will prevent you from actually taking the leap and stepping outside of your comfort zone here in the ninth house, Taurus. Okay, so Taurus here in the 10th house. Taurus here loves to bathe in luxury and wealth. Again, this is our fellow earth sign house, which is the house of Capricorn. So, of course, Taurus understands and loves this energy very well. They will put in the necessary hard work to achieve these goals. Now they can come off again as stubborn, or hard to give advice to, you know, when it comes to their work, because again, how Taurus likes to process information, how they like to have things set up. They have a practical nature about how they think, how they operate, and how they do things. So, they have a hard time listening to other people. And I'm gonna put it like this: I won't say they have a hard time listening to anyone. It's people that they deem may not be in a position that they're trying to go to. So it'll be hard for a Taurus to take advice from somebody who's already not where they're trying to go. And that's when the stubbornness will lead to. That's when the stubbornness will come in. So, aside from that, Taurus here can be good leaders because of the ability to lead and direct people in an effective manner. Let's jump into Taurus in the 11th house. Taurus here can be considered reliable amongst their community, their social circles, their friend groups. Taurus here can be artistic, can be stubborn and jealous about, the bestie or the prize friend. So Taurus can experience jealousy here. But aside from that, they can be loyal, patient with their friends. I mean, this is a good placement for a friend because these are the people who will be patient with you on your worst days. And there's not too many zodiac signs I feel would be too patient with people on their worst days before they basically lose patience and cuss your ass out. But Taurus here would have us practice a little bit more compassion and patience and understanding here. So this is a dope placement to have if you do have Taurus here in the 11th house. Last house, Taurus here in the 12th house. Now Taurus here can be stuck in their ways when it comes to their blind spots, flaws in their personality. They're ruled by Venus. So the love of materials and luxury can be a problem here, due to what they would go through to accumulate these things. Basically, they'll probably do anything to accumulate these things, whether that's chasing unhealthy desires or putting themselves in unhealthy situations just to get this. So Taurus here has to be careful of that. Now, hidden enemies can be in the form of friends abusing or misusing their kindness for weakness. So, another thing to be careful for here, Taurus in the 12th house. Taurus here can be naturally a loner, and this is most earth signs. We kind of like being on our own in a way, and it's not to say that we don't enjoy outside company, but most earth signs are introverted. So, with the Taurus placement here, this is like introvert times 10. And when this placement, they spend a lot of time on their own, and they value that alone time that they have because it allows them to think and, just kind of like work things out in that subconscious space. So, they can also be blind to, their purpose in life, due to the overthinking nature, because you have one part of them who want to be, successful or want to acquire all these things, but it's another part of them that's blind to the things that's keeping them from that. So that's what an internal like tug of war can be had here, And also, one of the blind spots, is the inferiority complex, and that's probably one of the blind spot flaws that they don't see that may keep them from living the life that they want, just having that internal inferior complex, living in the past. Now Taurus here, depending also on, what's aspected, they can be heavily into a fast-paced lifestyle, overindulge in the material world, and again, this can lead to dangerous situations, because they're not really mindful or even aware of the blind spots of how they react and the things that they'll do to put themselves in the situation to get certain things. So that was my Taurus through the houses series. Make sure you all stick through for the rest of the houses, and I'll see you all in the next episode.